Hello, princesses, and welcome back to Not Fit for Print Beauty with me, Rebecca. Today we have the brand new palette from Artist Couture. I am so happy to show you guys the Artist Couture Supreme Mauves Eyeshadow and Pressed Pigment palette. This $45 little palette seems to be the tail end of a whole parade of kind of rosy mauve eyeshadows that have been released, but I think that this one is really different, and I'm going to explain why. Plus we're going to do some comparisons that will probably explain that as well, and a demo of this eye look you see in front of me, plus of course swatches in two different lightings. So let's get started. Let's take a look at this lovely Artist Couture palette. It is $45. Again, it is the Artist Couture Supreme Mauves Eyeshadow and Pressed Pigment palette for $45. Then next in a long line, what is now becoming a long line of Artist Couture Supreme palettes, Supreme Bronze, Supreme Nudes. It's kind of coming along, and this is Supreme Mauves. Notice they call it mauve, not rose, which I think was a smart choice. So let's take a look at the brand is calling this 12 Modern Mauves, which I think is a great description. 3 different finishes, 7 mattes, 2 duochromes, and 3 high pearl finishes in mauve, berry, and neutrals. They do not use the word rose, which I actually think is kind of cool. And in fact, I see this as an almost girly alternative to the grungy but cool way that the other palettes went. We're going to compare it, and I'll tell you what I mean in just a moment. But first, let's go to some swatches of this lovely mauve palette. First, in studio lighting, take a look at them there. There are all 12 of them there. And what I love about the kind of celestial shades in this is they really are true topper shades, which you will see in the demo. Really pretty topper shades that work especially well when paired over some of the darker shades in this palette. They're not necessarily standalone shades, and I think that's actually really cool. Harkens back to a true celestial or topper shade, which I really like. Now, it's a pretty hot day, so we don't have any squirrels or crows or bunny rabbits or ducks outside like I often do. It's just me and my arm outside in the warm California sunshine. So take a look at these outside, swatched for you. So beautiful, all lined up. I just think that natural light is the best way to see these palettes. Now, in terms of swatches, I just grabbed some of the new ones that came to mind, but trust me, I know how clever you guys are. You will have more shade comparisons that you want, and if so, just give me a holler here or on Instagram, and you know I'm really good about getting those up really quickly for you guys. So let's take a look. The first thing I want to, of course, show you is Artist Couture compared to, of course, the Natasha Denona Retro. It has the most in common with the Retro, probably because the Retro does everything. But of course, here is the Midi Retro, and here is our brand new Artist Couture Supreme Mauves. And they are similar, but the Natasha Denona palette is, of course, larger and, you know, kind of broader in scope than this one here. I find the Artist Couture a little bit quicker to reach for. Maybe it's just newer, because I do love, of course, the Retro palette. And in my arm swatch here, we have the Artist Couture palette on the top, and underneath it in the bottom, we have the comparable shades for the Natasha Denona Retro palette, which is, I think, all but 2. So again, on the top, we have our Artist Couture Supreme Mauves, and on the bottom, we have all the relevant shades of the Natasha Denona Retro palette, which is pretty much all but 2. And next up, we have, of course, our Patrick Ta Major Dimension 2 palette versus the brand new Artist Couture Supreme Mauves. They have many similarities, but the Patrick Ta palette goes a bit deeper and a bit darker and heavier. Take a look at them in the pan there. And then on the arm, we have Artist Couture again up top, and Patrick Ta below, the Major Dimension 2, all but the cream shades. There's no cream shades in the Artist Couture palette, so I did not include those in my swatch comparisons. If you need them, though, just ask. I'll put it on Instagram. I'm happy to do it. And last but not least, just for some perspective, I have put the brand new Pillow Talk Dreams quad from Charlotte Tilbury next to our brand new Artist Couture Mauve. And, you know, they're cut from slightly the same cloth. This one just goes a little bit lighter. So take a look at them here then on my arm, where we, of course, again, have Artist Couture on the top and the little 4 Quad Pillow Talk Dreams down below it. Now I didn't even bother to swatch Melt. Melt got even grungier and deeper, and there wasn't a whole lot to compare. But if you need it, you can certainly ask me. What I feel is that we've taken rose as far as it can go, and we've seen a lot of rose palettes with Pat McGrath and with so many out there, Sydney Grace even, and then we went a bit heavier, Patrick Ta and Charlotte Tilbury, and a bit grungier with Melt, and I think Artist Couture just kind of brings it back around to springtime, and it's just really light, airy, and pretty. I'm a big fan of this, as you can tell, and I want to go now to the demo of me recreating or creating this look we have here. I'll let you in on a secret that you'll hear me say. My microphone wasn't on, so this is the second time around for all of this. It just gets better though. It just gets better. Stay right there. Okay, I'm really excited to dive into this one. This is really my speed. I love these shades, and I've got my Givenchy, that pinkish black lip gloss on. So ready for this. I will make sure that I put the names of the shades above me, and I brought over just a whole bunch of Sonia G brushes. We're going to start with this very first shade here on the top left, and I'm just going to use it. It's kind of a whitish pink shade, and I'm just going to kind of use it to just cover up the eye. There we go. And I'm going to take that same exact brush and go into this third shade here and just kind of run it, kind of windshield wiper motions, but I have hooded eyes. So I'm kind of also heading up a little bit so that I make sure that it can be seen. With hooded eyes, it's all about what it looks like when they're completely open. And I'm taking this slight little half pencil brush here and going under the eye as well. Okay, let's see. Let's go ahead and go into this beautiful mauve shade here on the very bottom left. And I'm just going to put that onto the corners of the eye. And I'm going to take our pencil brush. Now you're going to see a little bit of this shadow if you're particularly observant on this brush. That's because my secretary didn't turn on my microphone, and I have taken off my makeup, and this is the second time I'm doing this look. She really needs to be fired. So if you see a little remnant of eyeliner and a little bit on the brush, it's because it's the second time. The second time around is always better though. Some might say it would be better without sound, but I don't want to hear you guys say that. Okay, I'm going to take this, also the same brush, and just go a little bit into this pretty brown shade here, and just also darken again these corners. Maybe doing a little bit of a different look than I did the first time around, but that just makes it more fun. And a completely clean brush here, also Sonia G, just to kind of blend things out. Then I'm going to go in with this very beautiful shade here on the end, which is really a topper shade. And this is what I mentioned in the intro, that or I mentioned when the mic was off, but I'll film it again. Oh, that secretary of mine. This is a true topper shade, meaning a true kind of celestial shade. Unlike Pat McGrath or Natasha Denona, who do beautiful metallic shades, but they're shades in their own right. This is definitely a metallic topper, and it is so pretty at that. And then I'm going to take this little pencil here too, and just kind of go into the corner with it as well. All right, let me put some mascara on again, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about this. So stay right there. I'm going to go give that secretary of mine a talking to. Okay, here is our finished look. So beautiful. You know, what I like about this palette, as compared to the other kind of rosy palettes that were released earlier this week and last, is it is a much more mauve palette. This leans much more pinks and purples, rather than into the deeper browns. I know there's some deep browns, but rather than veering into the deep browns and brick maroon shades. I didn't even bring out the melt palette. There just wasn't enough that was similar. But you know, if you take a look at, and we did compare with Charlotte Tilbury and Patrick Ta, we started going deeper and deeper into those dark, it couldn't really even be called rose anymore. It's burgundy, Merlot. Everybody needs a drink now. It is the afternoon, I suppose. So maybe get out those grapes and cheese. You can have some of that wine, but maybe not with this palette, because this kind of veers a little bit more feminine. And just as Melt took it super, super edgy by adding in those grungy greens and browns, and admittedly, the Natasha Denona Retro palette kind of does all of it. I do prefer this. It's a little bit less intimidating and kind of quicker to reach and work with than the Natasha Denona. I love the retro. I'm not crazy. I do love it. But what I'm saying is this is a fun, fresh take, more playful, whimsical shades that are in this rather than the darker, heavier shades. And I really do appreciate that. I think Artist Couture gets more and more fun. These are just really up my alley. Now, how about you? Is this a palette that you grabbed, or did you say, I am so done with rose or mauve or burgundy or whatever it's calling itself today? Let me know. I really think this is a good buy for the price, and the performance of the shadows was delightful, and I know I did it twice. So I really think it is an absolutely lovely palette and worth your while, especially if you grabbed it today at the sale. At time of filming, the sale is still on for a few more hours, depending upon when you see this video. So do let me know your thoughts below. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I sure hope that you did. And if you haven't already done so, please make sure that you subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss any of the fun ahead. And I hope to see all of you in the next video. Bye-bye.